All right, y'all. It would help if I unmuted my mic. So, hello, hello, hello. Good morning, and welcome to the Mamas and Coffee. All right, I am echoing. I don't know why. Hello, Grace.
Good morning.
How you doing, girlfriend?
I'm struggling this morning. I had a huge migraine yesterday in the evening and it took me out. What happened?
I am echoing somewhere. I don't know where or why.
Do you have us playing on something else?
All right. I did. Because I had YouTube up on my other screen.
Yeah.
And it automatically kicked in. I'm like, ah. But, all right, folks. Let's start over. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, good morning.
How are y'all doing this morning, folks? You know what? This is live. This is, real life. This is technology. It is what it is. So
Right.
I am Sybil, and this is
Grace.
Grace.
This side.
We're going to get it. We're going to get it. We're going to get it one of these days. But how you doing this morning?
Struggling a little bit. I had a big migraine and it messes with my vision on my left side when I have migraines. And so like lights and screens, and I was running behind today, trying to get my life together.
Well, it's all right. That's what we always do over here at Mama's and Coffee. Get our life together.
Get our life together, exactly.
But you feeling better?
Ish, yeah. The big painful part is gone. It's kind of like I call it a migraine hangover, where you're just like the main part's over, but you're still kind of like sluggish and getting into things. That's where I'm at right now.
Do you have migraines regularly?
I do have migraines regularly. And typically when I get them kind of like on a routine schedule, you would say they're minor, but then every couple months I get a major. Oops, sorry, I didn't put my do not disturb on. See, I'm behind.
Okay. But you do get them fairly regularly?
Yeah, I get them fairly often. They've done brain scans to kind of just make sure it's not affecting me too much because of how often I get them. But yeah, we kind of just work with it.
Hey, you know what? I think we should talk about migraines if you're up for it.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Because I suffered from migraines when I was pregnant.
Okay.
Which I was like, ooh, I don't wish anyone. Like they suck the lights when you were talking about the lights, like the lights.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
But let's go ahead. I'm not dismissing.
No, you're good. We're gonna get back to what our topic is supposed to be. I got you.
So our topic today is about homeschooling.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. Everybody go ahead, grab your coffee cup, your water cup, whatever it is you need, because this is going to be a good conversation. Because is it the right choice, or are some families choosing it for the wrong reasons? And I'm just going to say this, okay? Grace homeschools. I did not, and I did not homeschool. I didn't, and I'm gonna tell y'all why I didn't, and I'm gonna tell y'all my honest thoughts about homeschooling. Okay, now for our audience, you homeschool? Let us know in the comments. And any questions that we ask, we want you to answer them as well. Okay, I'm just not asking Grace, and Grace isn't just asking me. We are asking y'all too, because we want your perspective. And I did post this question earlier this week, last week, to our audience on the Facebook page, and we had a mix of response. Even from some parents who they went to public school and they chose to homeschool, but then they stopped homeschooling. One mom said that she sent her kid to public school, but if she had a child now, she would choose to homeschool.
So, I saw that. Yeah, that was very interesting.
So Grace, were you homeschooled?
No, I went to public school all throughout. In fact, I even went to daycare as a baby. So I have always been out.
So, folks, as we're talking about this, as I said, leave your comments and buy us a coffee, all right? Because we need your support.
Yes.
Buy us a coffee. Now, Grace.
Yes.
If you went to public school, right?
Yes.
What made you choose to homeschool?
Well,
And
actually,
I say choose because I'm assuming, you made this choice. You was not forced to do so.
Yeah, wasn't quite forced. However, we did not plan to homeschool from the start. Like that was not, we didn't have a baby and say, oh, we're going to homeschool and we're going to do all these things. I mean, it was a thought. Like people were like, oh, you're going to homeschool public school. But I was like, public school. I wasn't on the homeschool train. In fact, my oldest went to preschool, pre-K 4, her first year. And we were like, yeah, we're going to do this. She's entering the school system. But she was having medical issues and it lasted 2 years. And so pre-K 4 and pre-K 5, they had 2 pre-Ks in Texas. But she was having medical issues. And so she was missing so much school to the point where we were getting truancy letters, even though she was in and out of the doctors and hospital and all the things. In pre-K, we were receiving truancy letters. Okay. So this was a big reason why we jumped on the homeschool train. And I mean, I'm sending my child to play and learn colors and do the things, right? Like it's just a playtime half-day school. It shouldn't be this serious. But it was.
But why in pre-K 4 and 5 were they sending truancy? Like especially pre-K 4. I'm assuming pre-K 5 was more kindergarten.
Yeah, it was like pre-kindergarten because of birthdays. So if you didn't make the cutoff for kinder, you would do one more year pre-K before going to kinder for the birthdays. So they had 2 years of pre-K classes.
Okay.
And so because Millie's December birthday, so she never made that cutoff. And so you can go for 2 years for pre-K, just get that extra time. But yeah, we were getting truancy. And from the outside perspective, it's because attendance means money for the schools. And so when you don't have attendance, you're not getting funding for that child. So my daughter was missing so much that we got truancy letters. I never had to physically be in court, but I did have to send documentation as to why my child was not there, her medical records. It was just such a big inconvenience. So before we made it to pre-K 5, like the second semester of that, we pulled her. We pulled her from the public school and we started homeschooling. And then, I mean, it's preschool. It's not much. It's a lot of play to learn type stuff. So that was super easy. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And then we did kinder, which is a little more intensive. And I was like, okay, I can do this. And she was still having medical issues. So we didn't feel like it was right to put her back in school. And meanwhile, my younger is getting older. So I had to homeschool her too. And I was like, okay, we could do this. And then we got to first grade and I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. But I'll stop there because I'm sure there's more questions. But that's the reason why we homeschooled was my daughter's medical issues and the truancy and the not compassion or grace that we received from the schools because of the situation. Now, we weren't just not sending her. Like she had medical issues, but we were still getting so much pushback for the schools. So I was like, you know what? This is not right.
And see, I'm struggling with why the school system was giving you such a hard time with the medical. It's like you had documentation.
Right. And we went into the school year saying she has these issues. Now, we didn't know that it was going to cause this many absences, but we let them know in the beginning that she has this issue. We don't know what that looks like. Oh, it's totally fine. We understand. Just send her notes. Just do this. That is not what we received at the end. So, yeah, it was really disappointing that we didn't get the support that we thought we were going to get.
And so now you are now continuing homeschooling.
Yes. My kiddos are now in second and kinder. Well, second and first. It gets a little complicated with homeschool, but yes.
So how comfortable are you with home? How comfortable are you with homeschooling? Nobody ever comes to my house. Let me see.
Uh-oh.
Girl, talk.
Yes, I got it. Okay, how comfortable am I with homeschooling? Well, in the beginning years from like pre-K through first, I was like, okay, I can do this. Now getting into second, I will say I am a little bit nervous, but I think that's just because it's unknown territory as far as my kiddos are getting older, so that's a different dynamic in the teaching realm and mom realm, so we have to divide that a little bit more, whereas when it's younger, it's still a lot of play and a lot of, like, together time, and now they need kind of their independent practice, so that makes me a little bit nervous to do it. Ultimately, I was gonna cap myself at 4th grade. I feel like after 4th grade, we've laid a really firm foundation for them. They know our expectations and rules and values as a family, and we can potentially see about re-entering them into the public school system. But that's what I said when we hit 1st grade too, and here we are homeschooling another year. So we'll really see how that goes. But I think there's so many resources out there that if I was to feel uncomfortable teaching a subject matter or I wasn't sure that I can outsource those things. There's so many resources. There's different textbooks, there's learning programs, there's tutoring programs. There's so many things that you can do to outsource if you are uncomfortable with teaching certain subject matter. Everything okay, Sybil?
Girl, what I do with my glasses because I can't see the screen.
Oh no, she's not gonna be finding her glasses either if she can't see. That's hard. But I wanna know in the comments, do any of y'all homeschool? Why did you choose to homeschool, and are you comfortable homeschooling? So in a little synopsis, I said that I am comfortable, or I've been comfortable up until now in 2nd grade. I feel a little like, "Ah," but I think it's because my daughters are getting older too, so they need, like, their independent practice time, whereas the younger ages, it's a lot of, like, still play to learn and manipulatives, and now it's more structured. Um, and I'm like an overthinker, so I wanna make sure they're getting everything that they need. But I was talking about how there's so many resources to outsource now, like, if you don't feel comfortable with the subject matter or you're unsure, like, they could be taught online with a tutor. They can, go to different programmings that they have around your city or state. Like, there's so many outside resources that can supplement your teaching if you're not comfortable in those subject matters.
Okay, because that was indeed going to be a question that I had. And I'm sorry, folks, for having to step away from today's talk. We had ordered some groceries to be delivered, but we said after 11,
Mm,
and it was,
they were there.
yeah. But I did get my, I talked about these in my, this is the commercial break. I did talk about my coffee chat yesterday, private Facebook group for Mamas and Coffee. This is not sponsored by Clearly Canadian. I just love them, but Clearly Canadian drinks. Grace, have you ever had them?
I have never had them.
I mean, you know, I am a bit older than you, Grace. These are my jam back in the day. I was the Canadian, and I saw them in the grocery store. They were doing a sample, and I got some. I was like, oh, yes. So I've been drinking sparkling water. They're really good. Please tell me there's not someone else at the door. So, you talking about resources when you are uncomfortable with a subject or helping your children. How do you think you will manage that as they get older? Because I do feel there's a difference of, you know, they're in elementary school. You are still very much aware of the teachings of the subject matter, but what happens when they hit middle school and high school? Even with the resources, how will a parent know that their child is indeed hitting all the necessary wickets if they're not familiar with this subject matter?
Yeah. Well, so I had actually talked about that very briefly. I had said personally, 4th grade is kind of my cap of homeschool. I feel like I could go further if I really wanted to and like researched all the different resources that there is to help me do that. But I feel like between their younger years and 4th grade, that really gave us the time to lay down the foundation of our values as a family, our expectations, all the things that we want to instill on them, to put them out there into the world. And 4th grade, finishing 4th grade in homeschool will allow them to go to 5th grade, their elementary school, before they hit middle school. So they can make friends in 5th grade, they can get adjusted to the school life in 5th grade, and then enter into that transition year of middle school. And I think at that point, schools also have a lot more to offer than what the elementary school is offering, because they have different types of classes. They have to learn their schedules, their movement. There's just a lot more learning in that. So personally, I feel like I would outsource completely at that point. But I said that when we were going to go first to second, and here we are still homeschooling. So I don't know. We'll take it year by year. Um, but to answer your question, for older ones, I think that really depends on your state laws. So, for example, Texas has very minimal homeschool laws. And I think that's a little bit dangerous in the fact that parents can kind of just do whatever. It's great for those of us who are structured and have plans and really are putting our kids' education first. But I think it's dangerous for the families who have no guideline and they kind of are just out there guessing what they're supposed to do. Now, here in Kentucky, there's a lot more laws. There's specific classes that they have to complete.
Mhm.
Um, you have to keep record. They can audit you at any time to make sure that your children are doing the things that they're supposed to be doing. There's options to take standardized testing to make sure they're at the levels of what other children are. And I think those are key things. I know a big homeschool point is, well, I don't want my kids to do the testing. But I'm a little bit opposite to that. I don't think they should test as often as the schools are testing, like their STAR test and all those different things. But I do think testing is a good way to know where your child is, what more you need to do to get them to their level if they're not there. Or if they're excelling at something, you can go ahead and navigate that to take them even further, you know? So it's a good place to just really see where your child is and make sure that you're checking off all the boxes you need to check, because you want them to be successful. Homeschool is not to just hang out and do nothing. Like, homeschool is to even better their education than what they're receiving, at public schools, if possible. And sometimes you can't do that, and public school is the better option. Like, there's a lot of hate between the two, and I don't get it. Like, things work for different families and different people and for certain times. Like, we may return to public school. Will I get some looks? Probably, but I really don't care because that's what's working for our family, Like, it just is what it is.
It is what it is. And when you mentioned about the testing, now I have met homeschooling parents
Mhm.
throughout the years, and I've asked some of them their reasons of homeschooling. And it's actually been a bit concerning for me of their
Yeah.
reasons of wanting to homeschool. And some has been so their kids don't have to take tests, that
Mhm.
they can teach their children what they want them to learn, which, okay,
Mhm.
to an extent. But when it comes to, and I'm just talking about the educational side of it right now,
Mhm.
I have talked to some of their kids and I'm like, ooh, your mom is saying that you're, you know, high school level, 10th
Mhm.
grade.
Mhm.
Nah, sweetie, like we fourth grade math. Like, like
Yeah.
there's just some
Yeah.
basics that we are
Right.
missing here.
Mhm.
So that's on the educational side. But then I have also met
Mhm.
homeschooling families that the children seem to lack some of the social skills that I feel is you gain from being
Mhm.
in school. Now,
Mhm.
you also, to be fair, you can get social skills from attending different activities, in which I know you take your girls to a lot of
Yes.
different activities. But I have come across parents who do not want their children to engage with anyone outside of their immediate circle, which
Yeah.
ends up being their siblings. And I'm like, okay, but how is your kid going to function in the
Mhm.
real world?
Yeah, I think you can definitely tell a difference. If you were to put a group of homeschooling families together, you will tell the difference between families who are out in the everyday world and families that aren't, that are kind of just in their bubble. And I think that comes down to the parents I don't want to say personality, but like, are their parents introverts, extroverts? Are their parents willing to be extroverts for their children, even if they're introverts? So like, I don't like going out often. I just don't. I get burned out. But for my kids' sake, like, we're going to go do the things because I want them to be out and do it. And I will say our biggest resource in that are co-ops or cottage schools. And so my children attend a cottage school, which is a 2-day academy. So they go to school Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they do social studies and science, and they social studies, science, something else. I can't remember. They do all the other subjects other than like language arts, math, writing, that spelling. That stuff is done at home, and then they do the other subjects so that we're a partnership. In getting our homeschool requirements done, our educational requirements done for the state. And they also review what I'm teaching them in the classroom, and that gives them classroom experience while still being homeschooled. And so they get kind of best of both worlds. They're in a classroom, they have another teacher, they do lunch there and recess, just like a normal classroom would be, but it's smaller size. So like my kiddos' classes are 13 and 15 kids, and that's where they're capped at. They're not going to grow. That's it. And so there's a lot of options to do those things. There's also co-ops, which are homeschooling groups or pods that go and they do field trips together. They do learning activities together. They'll even do lessons. If everyone's using the same curriculum, you can go do your lessons together. So it is almost like a classroom, but in your pod at your own time, your own schedule. So there's a lot of different ways to homeschool and still get your social aspect of everything. I think public school does provide that, but you think about it, and kids are in classes of 30, 35 students with one teacher trying to control everybody, telling everybody to be quiet, don't talk. It gets a little iffy, especially in the younger years. So we think that in homeschooling, they can socialize even more being homeschooled than they could in the public school.
Now, I've heard of co-ops, but I'd never heard of the other.
Yeah, cottage school. Yeah.
Although I guess I had heard of it before, but I didn't know what it was called. But
Yeah.
so you said it's called cottage?
Cottage. They call them cottage schools. Yeah.
Now, Grace, I know you said right now your thought is up to the 4th grade.
Yeah.
But here's a question.
Yeah.
These are things that I'm not gonna lie, I be side-eyeing homeschool moms. I really do. One, because I want to know what their schedule looks like, right? Like day-to-day schooling schedule, because I hear homeschooling families say, oh, I don't need the full 8 hours a day. We can get our lesson done in 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. All right, cool, fine. But as the child matriculates to the next grade, middle school, high school, do you feel that the parent, whichever parent it is that is teaching the child, should they meet specific educational requirements?
Yes, I think so in certain things. Well, I'll take that back a little bit. I think that if you are teaching something, you need to know how to do it. Now, I don't think that means you need to have had a master's degree in a certain subject in order to teach it. I don't think that's necessarily true, because you think about our public school teachers, right? Many of them have gone to school 20, 25 years ago, and they're teaching our children today. Tell me how different the school system is today from then. But what are they doing? They are continuing to learn and review new teaching styles, new curriculums, new requirements. The states every single year change requirements for our students in public schools. And so I think that parents that are homeschooling can also receive the education that they need online without necessarily getting a degree in order to teach the homeschool kids, but they need to put that effort into knowing the subjects if they're going to solely teach their children. Now, if you're outsourcing, I don't expect you to know everything, because that's why you're outsourcing, right? But if you are the sole teacher, you do have to know what the subject matter is before you can teach someone. I mean, you can't teach someone how to cook a recipe if you have no idea how to cook the recipe. You know what I mean? You can do it alongside them and learn, sure, but are you truly teaching them, or are you just doing it with them? So I think those are two different different things.
I mean, like you would not want me teaching your child chemistry. Like
Correct. I mean,
that.
couldn't teach my kids chemistry. That's when I would outsource. I think knowing your limits of what you actually know and what you need to outsource. And there's no shame in that. I think again, it's like the social media side, the just outside influence side of if you're homeschooling your kids, you need to know everything because you need to teach them all. Not really. The great thing about homeschool is you can make your schedule however you want it. If that means they're going to a tutor 4 times a week for chemistry because they're teaching them chemistry, and then you're doing math because you're great at math and you know all these things, and that's perfectly fine. So I think we all just need to realize that it can look however it is you want it to look, as long as you're putting your child's education first and priority. Like that needs to be done.
I still stand on, I'm not anti-homeschool, but I do question parents about their ability to teach their children, especially once they hit that middle school and high school age. I really do. I question, I'm like, and that's for the parents who don't want to outsource at all.
Yeah.
Like, are you, and then I'm like, are you being honest with yourself, with your child's ability?
Yeah.
Especially in high school, right? You're like, okay, yeah, my kid, they're taking, because I see it even with children in public school. Oh, my child's going to take AP this, AP that. Your kid need to be taking basic whatever.
Yeah.
There's this false reality. That's one of my concerns with homeschooling.
Yeah.
Right? Are the parents being honest with themselves of their children's needs?
I think that's a big thing too, is being afraid that your child is behind, so then you just push them forward, and that's not going to do them any good because they really need that foundation before they can move on. And I mean, I can't speak on middle school and high school. Obviously, my kids aren't that age, so I haven't taught that. But I do know a lot of families that are in those ages, and the independence that there is in the learning is different than the younger. So like youngers, we're opening the book, we're sitting in front of them, we're teaching these things. A lot of the high school curriculum that's out there for homeschoolers, there's a video lecture that they watch first, and then that's how they're being taught the material, and then they sit and do the lesson, and then the parent is there to kind of reinforce those things. And I think that's mostly what I've seen personally. So I don't think that the parent necessarily has to know that subject matter. If that's the way they're receiving their learning, it's almost like an online school, but not quite, because they're still doing the work themselves. But for the ones that are just teaching just straight out of a book, I think, yes, you need to know. Absolutely, you have to have the educational background for those things.
And one of my other concerns of homeschooling is the choice of, well, no, let me back up. So I saw this online, this been a little bit ago, of a mom who was homeschooling. She had homeschooled her child throughout elementary, middle school, and high school. The kid wanted to play high school sports. The mom wanted the kid to be able to play at their zone public school. But the public school said, no, the child is not enrolled. So there was debate on whether that child should be able to play sports or not. I said no. And this is why I said no. Because I did my research, and this particular situation, the choice for homeschooling was because the family did not want their child in that particular school district because they had some concerns of that school district. Okay, fair enough. But if you don't want your child attending that school because of how you feel they'll be, what's what I'm looking for?
Influenced, maybe?
Influence, yes. See, look, my mind.
No, you're good.
Then you shouldn't want them to play sports with those kids either.
Yeah.
So I'm like, nah, no, your kid can't come play. I forgot what sport it was. No, they should not. Go find a private league. Go ahead and pay that extra money because you can play and
Yeah.
you bought whatever.
Mhm.
Go play there and pay those fees. No, your child should not attend, because
Right.
when I see parents choose to homeschool because
Mhm.
they don't want their child influenced by
Mhm.
kids, I'm
Mhm.
like, nah, you don't get best of both worlds. You got to choose.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a hard one for me for younger kids. I think in high school, if you're high school or up and you want your kid to play a sport, I feel like they need to go to the school because that's a whole other dynamic. Like the team knows each other, they're there in and out. They're a team, right? Like you don't want to intrude on that if that's not what you want to be a part of. For youngers, I mean, I don't really know about middle school. I feel like that kind of falls in the same thing. For elementary, I would say for like after school sports and stuff, that's not so serious. So I feel like maybe that's an entrance for them to do. Anything higher though, I do see that if you're not enrolled in the school, you really shouldn't be there because you're not part of the school. And I totally get that. However, on the opposite side of that, if a state is not encouraging, but I guess if a state supports homeschool, then maybe they have to put a little bit more effort out in creating more leagues for homeschool children to be a part of? I don't really know. I don't know. That's the
Well,
one I
you
don't
start
know.
a homeschool league. There, I said it. You start a homeschool
Yeah.
league. You say, hey, within this
Mhm.
zone,
Yeah.
you can join this homeschool team. And
Yeah.
for younger kids, like you have,
Mhm.
I say city league ball. I don't know what it's
Yeah.
called now.
Mhm.
You sign them up for city league ball because there's
Yeah.
not, I don't, I'm thinking back to when my girls were in elementary school.
Mhm.
There were no elementary teams.
After school sports. Oh, interesting. In Texas, there are.
Now, when I was in school,
Mhm.
in elementary, we had a basketball team. We had an elementary school basketball team, but it was through the school.
Yeah.
But they also had city league football and
Mhm.
basketball where
For
you sign
sure.
up and you play.
Yeah.
I played basketball at 5. I started playing ball at 5.
Aw.
You still have to get your grade.
No, I didn't.
I played all through high school.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, people think, oh, Sybil, you were a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader too, but I played basketball.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think that's another thing about homeschooling is like parents can't forget about the extracurricular activities for your kids. Like just because you're home doesn't mean you stay home. You know what I mean? Like you got to take them out to do things. My kids do swim, they do dance, they do ballet, they do gymnastics, they do different things in rotation, of course, but they have other things that they go and do.
Meaning that you get your kids out to socialize with
Yes.
other people in the world, because that is another big thing with homeschooling that I see parents do, and this goes beyond homeschooling. I still see it in college kids. All right. You know, my youngest is now in college. I'm
Yeah.
officially an empty nester. Little mixed emotions there, but I see it in the college mom groups where they're still trying to choose their kids' friends and
Uh,
social circles.
yeah.
Or, you know, I get it. We want to tell our kids to be safe. That's from elementary on up to
Right.
adult. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, you know, make good choices, choose good friends, yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada. But again, I've met homeschooling parents in my lifetime. And some of them, you know, we see eye to eye, others we don't, but
Yeah.
there are different opinions, are different perspectives. But I have met some that are like, oh no, I choose my children's friends. And I don't want them in public school to be exposed to this belief or that belief. Where I'm thinking as a mom, because I think back to before I had kids,
Mhm.
I used to say, I will never do this as a mom. I would never allow my kid to do that. My kid will only, you know, all the
Yeah.
things, right?
Right.
But as they got older, I'm like, you know what? I can only instill certain values. They are
Mhm.
going to do what they're going to do, and they are going to
For sure.
just become friends with whomever they want to become friends with. And we see things, even to this day, there's things in the world that I disagree with,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I can't shelter my kids from things that are happening in the world.
Right. Yeah.
And when they leave for school, guess what? Or even if they don't go to school, whatever they do in their life, they're going to be exposed to it even more. So I
Right.
would rather have them be exposed at a younger age that I can kind of guide them. And I'm talking about from all things. Like, we'll even talk about private. This is a little bit of thing of private school. Because I've heard parents say in public school districts, oh, I don't want my kid to go to this school district because X, Y, and Z, but I want them to be zoned for this district, yada, yada, yada. Money plays a big role, right?
Yeah.
And oh, they're going to go to this school because it's better. Well, guess what? Or they're like, oh, there's drugs in this school, not in that school. Well, guess what, honey? You just have a different type of drug in that
Right.
school. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
That is the only
Right.
difference.
Yeah.
And we've seen it, like, again, just our life moving every few years.
Right.
Some of the stories that my kids have shared with me, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Because when they, you have drug use in schools, right? And I'm thinking, oh, they talking about baby drugs. Oh, snap, what?
Yeah.
But it's because it seems to be a more prominent school. Like, have you seen the news about, is it Penn State, University of Pennsylvania? Which one is it?
I
But
haven't seen.
they had the coke ring.
There's
several students that were busted for the coke.
Yeah.
For the cocaine. But you're thinking, oh, that would never happen at that school. It's happening.
Yeah. I mean, things happen everywhere. And that's a mindset that parents need to have, like, regardless of homeschooling or not, like, your kids are going to enter the world at some point. And I think there's a difference between thinking you can shelter them forever and protecting their innocence for a little bit longer. And that's where my husband and I are with our kids is, unfortunately, the things that we saw in like upper middle school and high school are now going down to younger and younger ages. And so for us, we felt like if we can keep their innocence just a little extra longer while instilling values stronger throughout this time, that when they enter at a little bit more mature of an age, I mean, they're still going to be immature at that age, but a little bit more maturity, a little bit different exposure of the world in tidbits while we're by their side, then they can have a more firm foundation going into it. That's the hope. It could be completely wrong and they'll have the same exact influence as before. We don't know. That's part of parenting, right? Like, you just try what you believe is best. And so that's what we're doing. But I don't believe that you can shelter your children forever. Like, that's just not going to happen. It doesn't matter how long you homeschool. You can homeschool all the way through. And the first day they go to college or the first day they go to work is like their biggest influence of something in their whole life. You just don't know what that walk of life is going to be for your child, but you can do the things in the beginning that you think is best for them.
Yes. And one thing that I will say, and this is coming from a mom who now has 3 out the house, is open communication.
Yes, absolutely.
They're not going to always be open with you because they're kids. Like,
right.
I mean, Grace, let's think about it. When we were teenagers, when we were young adults, there were little things like, oh, we're not going to share that. We were a little sneaky. Like, we did, like,
right. That's just reality. Yeah.
That's reality. That's what's going to happen because they're teenagers, because they're kids. But I've always tried, not always. It started probably when our eldest was middle school. I'm like, okay, we're going to have open communication. She still wasn't comfortable with talking to me about everything, which is normal. I wasn't comfortable to talk to my mom about everything either.
Right.
But I always encourage them to have an adult that they felt comfortable talking to.
Right.
And now that, the youngest is now officially grownish. You're not an adult until you're paying your own bills. I only have one adult. One adult. She is now paying her own bills. But we have a code where, and I did set this for when they went to college. Hey, because things happen, right?
Mm.
Once your kids are grownish, that's when life really start happening.
Mhm.
I'm like, come to me. If you need to have a mom conversation, we're going to have a mom conversation. If you need to
Mhm.
have a homegirl conversation that you can freely speak your mind. If you
Yeah.
need to cuss, hey, I don't really want to hear it, but I'll accept it.
Mhm.
They call me up, hey, we need to have a homegirl conversation. All right,
Mhm.
let's talk. The only problem is they don't like my homegirl response.
That's
They're like,
funny.
oh wow. I'm like, hey, you said I'm your homegirl. You gotta
Yeah.
choose. You want mom or you want homegirl?
That's funny.
But my middle daughter, while she was here for the summer, we would have homegirl
Yeah.
chats. We would just sit down and talk. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, dang. Yeah. Yeah. No, we can't have no homegirl. I mean, it wasn't anything bad, but it was
Right.
just things where you're
Not what
sitting,
you expected.
okay. Oh, okay. Shoot.
Mhm.
Yeah, you need to go talk. So one of my good friends here, um,
Mhm.
she still is in touch with. So she would go to her house. I'm like, yeah, you need to
You
talk
told me
to
that.
her. Shoot.
Yeah,
And
that's
it was all good, fun conversation, but it was just the
right.
way she expressed herself. So I
Yeah.
say all that to say, moms, regardless of the age of your kids, whether you're homeschooling,
Mhm.
because like Grace, you have a, I'm sorry, I'm saving. Actually, I'm not sorry for saying this because this is Mamas and Coffee, and we sharing our true thoughts.
Yeah.
You have a legitimate reason of why you chose to homeschool.
Yeah.
I really do have concern when parents choose to homeschool because they want to protect their kids from protect your kids, I guess, from certain situations that are really the unknown.
Yeah.
And I'm like, um, are you
Mhm.
like, or sheltering their kids? That's the
Yeah.
thing. I'm like, you can't shelter your
Yeah,
child.
you can't shelter your kids for long, but you can protect their innocence for a little bit longer. So, I personally would say I would encourage families, if you're really gonna be dedicated and make their education a priority, is to homeschool your kiddos maybe for the first few years. Just get to know your kid, get to know how they learn, get to know who they are, spend that extra time with them, set those firm foundations, set your values. And also, I mean, this is coming, we're a Christian family. Like, I'm put that out there. We're a Christian family. So our faith is essential for us to give and disciple our kids with. And that was also another thing that came with homeschooling that we were able to do. So we know that those values are going to be instilled in them when they go to school. And we hope that that is going to also encourage them to be able to discern between what influences they should and shouldn't have on them. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And those are all great things.
Hmm.
I just, like I said, it's when we're gonna have a sip and yap
Yes.
event for this because there's a lot more that I want to talk about with this, even down to the schedules, right? Like, what
Right.
does your classroom schedule look like? And there
Hmm.
is a difference of knowing your kid as your child and knowing your child as your student.
Yes.
And
Hmm.
can you separate the two? Because I used to tutor. I could not teach my kids a doggone thing. I had no patience. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Hmm.
But I used to tutor other children, but my approach was never as a teacher or as an educator. I
Hmm.
was bonus
Yeah.
helper as the mother because
Right.
your kid didn't get under my skin, right?
Yeah.
Like, all
Hmm.
right, you having trouble with 2 plus 2 or long division or algebra, whatever. All right, cool. We can sit down. We can work through this.
Yeah.
My kids, I'm like,
Yeah.
you see, we have 2 pins. What is the problem?
Yeah.
But your relationship is, I just feel like your relationship is different. And even
It
with each
is.
kid, with their learning style.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And how do you balance that
For
as a mom?
sure. Hmm.
But oh well, that's our show for homeschool. What was the actual title, Grace? I forgot the actual title. The right to homeschool and the right choice or the wrong reasons. Because you do have a right choice, there is, but then there are, as I said, I've seen some wrong reasons for homeschool or concerning for me.
Yeah.
Of why you're homeschooling.
Yeah.
But if it works for your family, great, do it. Just make sure you're giving the best for your child.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is make sure your kid's getting the education they're supposed to be getting.
Yeah, because once they hit the real world, and if they don't know the basic foundation, we got some problems. And it's okay. And it's okay if they struggle. But that's with school in general. If you have a child who's struggling, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's something we should talk about too, because I feel like parents beat themselves up or feel ashamed if they have a child who is struggling because they're comparing to some other child. It's like, it's okay.
The comparison game is dangerous because you either push your child to do so much more than they're even capable of doing at that moment, at that time, or your disappointment in that is felt within the child because then they feel like they disappointed you, and that's also detrimental to the child. So
yes,
comparison is rough.
It is. Parenting is rough. All right, so if y'all have a topic y'all want us to share our 2 cents on, go ahead, drop it in the comments, and we will. Doesn't matter if you're watching the replay, just tell us what you want us to talk about, and we will talk about it. All right, folks, have a good one. Grace, I hope you feel better with your migraines.
Thank you.
You want to talk about migraines?
Yeah, we'll do migraines.
Yep. Okay, because it's an important conversation.
It is.
All right, bye. Be sure to like, comment, share, buy us a coffee.
Yes.